I'm Keep Joel, and this is Comic Smack, your weekly, daily, all-the-time, anytime comic book show where I give you your fix of everything you need to know from the world of comic books and superheroes. And on today's show, we are taking a closer look at Captain America issue number 25. Steve Rogers is ready to make war on all of his enemies. Will anyone be left standing? Let's hop on in together and find out. Alright, so it's very important to note that this issue takes place before the events of Secret Empire number 8, and in fact, you might as well have called this one Secret Empire 7.5 because it is incredibly important to the proceedings of this event. It's ultimately the story of two very different speeches, one coming from Steve Rogers, the Hydra Supreme Commander, who calls his troops to war against the forces of New Tyon and Wakanda, claiming that America and its people will only be safe once these two rogue nations are destroyed, even though Hydra is secretly backing New Tyon, and the only reason they're fighting in the first place at all is because Steve wants to capture their cosmic cube shards. Essentially, what Captain America is threatening to do is deliver fire and fury unto his enemies unlike the world has never seen before. Damn, it's amazing how life imitates comic book art sometimes, isn't it? The mutants of New Tyon put up a valiant effort, but are ultimately overrun by the more powerful Hydra agents. It's right around here too, the X-Men, including Beast, find out who exactly has been the real power in New Tyon this whole time. Emma Frost. Yeah, apparently Hank had no idea that she was really the one calling the shots. The White Queen attempts to advocate for her mutant people, saying that she will happily go and surrender her piece of the cosmic cube to Captain America willingly if all the people of New Tyon are allowed to live. But she's also not 100% a good guy either, because she goes into business for herself, saying that she'll only agree to do this if she is fully recognized as the leader of the mutant community. Now, over in Wakanda, King T'Challa actually does a much better job resisting the Hydra hordes. In fact, he has been pretty much since this series started. In fact, Black Panther is so confident in his own fighting abilities and the fighting abilities of his soldiers, he makes a rather ballsy play. He activates a giant EMP device to take out all of Hydra's war robots. This also ends up hobbling his own technology and allows the psychic Dr. Faustus to come on in and gain control of the minds of a bunch of Black Panther's followers, essentially holding them hostage. This too means Wakanda loses its shard of the Cosmic Cube and Black Panther is forced to return to DC with everyone else. Now, the other big speech in this story is the one delivered by Sam Wilson, who has once again taken up the Captain America mantle. He attempts to rouse the superhero community, saying now is the time to come together, that nothing else shall break them apart. No more civil wars, no more petty infighting, now they fight for right. And step one in this new endeavor is liberating all the Inhuman prisoners of war from the new Atilan concentration camp. Half because, well, they're heroes and Avengers, goddammit, and that's what you do, you stick up for people who can't fight for themselves, and secondly, they could really use the extra metahuman muscle in the fights to come. And it's here in the Inhuman camp they end up finding what might be their ultimate ace in the hole, a brand new Inhuman by the name of Barf. No, really, his name is Barf. We actually already met this guy back in issue 1 of Secret Empire. He is essentially a human 3D printer who can create anything his mind can think up, so long as it's altruistic in nature, and because Tony Stark Iron Man is thinking, he obviously jumps to saying, hey, can you barf up a piece of the Cosmic Cube? Barf does just that, assumedly though it's a trick you can only use once. With a piece of the Cosmic Cube in their hand, Hollow Tony starts to get to work trying to devise a way to use this power to their advantage. And in his research, he ends up hitting upon something rather interesting. You see, up until now, the heroes had assumed that to make the Cosmic Cube work for them, they needed all the pieces of it together in one place. Hollow Tony, though, has begun to think differently after he saw Captain America cheat death in his fight with Miles Morales, even though the super powerful Ulysses had foreseen it to happen. Analysis: Cap had a piece of the Cosmic Cube on him, and apparently even just a tiny shard has enough energy to disrupt probability and more or less create a tiny miracle. And with this information on their side, the Avengers Resistance believe they have everything they need to finally break out all their friends who are trapped by Hydra. And hey, speaking of friends, as the comic begins to wind down, we check on in with Namor the Submariner. He's been beating himself up a lot recently for handing over his shard of the Cosmic Cube to Captain America and more or less being an uncharacteristic collaborator in all of this Hydra nonsense. But now he's finally made up his mind, decides he's ready to fight on the sides of the Angels to overthrow Captain America and Hydra once and for all. But he's not going to be alone because he has a secret weapon, and that secret weapon is Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, who had crashed in the ocean, was rescued by Namor, and has been that weird masked footman who's been following Namor around this whole event. So he was literally hiding in plain sight, everybody. So that was Captain America Steve Rogers number 25, everyone, and I think I can say unequivocally this is probably the most must-read tie-in to Secret Empire there's been. Up until now, I've complimented the Steve Rogers book for having a lot of good lore, a lot of good world building, and a lot of subtle character development for Steve Rogers. Here, it's everything. I also really wish I read this one before I read Secret Empire number 8, because the two stories basically tell one big long story and follow one right after the other. The undercurrent or metatext, whatever you want to call it, of Marvel superheroes needing to remind themselves what it is to be a hero and what it is to fight the good fight is very strong in this issue. And I mean, really, who doesn't love to see that, especially after so many stories in a row of Marvel heroes fighting each other? I would end up giving this one an 8 out of 10, and if you have been reading Secret Empire, definitely pick this one up too. So that's Captain America, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, why not check out some of these other videos? Then you can follow me on social media at Cape Joel, and if you want a great deal on comic book trades and help support me in the channel at the same time, please use my book depository link down in the description the next time you want to buy some comics. So until next time, everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you so much for watching.